Good afternoon. Welcome to the College for Every Student live chat. I'm Elaine Dixon-Cross, the College and Career Ambassador with CFES. I'm joined today by Dr. Michele Snyder, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, and Mr. Kris Renadette, Director of Advanced Manufacturing and Technology, both from Clinton Community College. Michele and Kris are going to be discussing STEM pathways through community college with us. During the live presentation, you can participate by posting your questions and comments in the chat window. And we'll ask Michele and Kris for you. Michele, Kris, what are STEM pathways in community college?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kris, and this is Michele. So STEM is an extremely crucial part into almost any type of career field you can imagine. It's extremely important, especially coming into the community college world. Community colleges typically provide pathways to a number of different areas. Not only do they provide pathways to four-year institutions, they provide a lot of pathways to different career fields. So as the director for the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing, one of the things that I want to start talking about today is some of the different manufacturing pathways and technology pathways. And so if we look at STEM and what STEM stands for, science, technology, engineering, and math, and really I like to think of STEAM and throw art in there, every single one of those categories is crucial in the technology field, not just the T. So I really don't want to just focus on that. In the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing at Clinton Community College, some of the different programs that we have mechanical technology, we have electrical, which is now it's computer and electronics technology, wind turbine technology, renewable energies technology, and computer information systems and environmental technology. If we look at all of those different pathways, they all lead to different avenues in industry in our area and around the world. So what part of STEM is important to those? So to be successful in the degree programs, to be successful in these career pathways, it's important to understand and have a good foundation in science and math. So some of the most important skills when we look at these different career fields, and I'm going to talk specifically for a second about manufacturing. Over the next 20 years, there's projected to be over 2 million jobs coming available in the world of manufacturing. And that is because of different skills gaps that have come up. So when I say skills gaps, I don't just mean in the technology area. Some of those skill gaps certainly are because technology is constantly increasing and constantly changing. When I was in college and when I graduated high school, cell phones were really just starting. And now, to use that as an example, Michele's laughing. So now to use that as an example, cell phone, we're actually using our cell phone for this event. I could never have imagined doing that when I was in high school when I just had a flip phone. But cell phones now, it's not really a phone. So 10 years ago, it was a phone. Now it's a computer that happens to have a camera on it and has talk features to be used as a phone. We can do video recording. What I'm getting at is technology changes very rapidly. And in the world of electronics, cell phones specifically, after 4 to 5 months, technology starts to become obsolete and something new is coming out. The same thing is constantly happening in the world of manufacturing. So when we think of manufacturing, I want everyone to kind of think to themselves what that means to them. Because when I think back before I really entered the world of manufacturing after college and started working in industry, what I related to manufacturing as was very old and dusty and dirty and congested. And a lot of that picture was painted from the Industrial Revolution, and it couldn't be farther from the truth now. So all of this technology and the rapid technology change that I was just talking about with cell phones has found its way into manufacturing. And that's where a lot of these skill gaps are. Because technology is changing so rapidly, the
Technology. Can you hear me?
We're back.
See, there's that technology helping us out.
Yes, so it's funny that you said that. I was just going to say that. So interesting as we talk about technology and how fast it advances. Apparently, it's pulled a fast one on us. But we are back. So in manufacturing, everything has really become computerized and digitized, and we're on the fourth and automation. So that is what is changing. That's the type of skill gap. So as the men and women who have been working there for 30 or 40 years are trying to keep up and go through this transition, that's when it's important for all of you coming out of school who are using this technology on a daily basis to start thinking about some of those opportunities that we can apply it to in manufacturing. Manufacturing and technology affect all of us in every single way as we go through our daily lives. How did you get to school this morning? You're wearing clothes, those were all manufactured. Whether you rode in a car, whether you rode on a bus, whether you walked, if you walked, the sidewalks you were on, the concrete was manufactured somewhere in some type of process before it was put down. If you were in an automobile or a bus, that was manufactured in a facility. So everything that we see and feel and touch on a daily basis is manufactured. So working in a manufacturing facility, you really you get a feel and have a part of actually creating something. So back to the skills gap that I alluded to before I kind of rambled on a little bit. So the big areas of skills that we really have a need for in manufacturing is problem solving, computer-based skills and analytical skills, math, and various technical skills. So when I say technical skills, I'm talking about the automation and control. So that's one of the big areas where industry has changed over the past several years. It's not that jobs are disappearing. The amount of jobs are still there. What's happening is companies and processes are becoming more efficient. That way companies can produce more products for us. In the end, the companies will make some more money, but that's where the robots and all the automation lines come into play. But in order for that to be effective, we have to train men and women on how to fix those pieces of equipment to keep them running. And that comes back into a lot of what we will be doing in the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing at Clinton. So I talked about some of those different degree pathways, the mechanical and the computer and electronics, renewable energy, wind turbine technology, computer information systems. Those all tie into different facets of technology and manufacturing in a bunch of different ways. And some of the other areas that we're really bringing into this facility that tie into a number of those degree paths that we were just talking about is machining and running advanced machining equipment. So computer controlled equipment and different types of machines that are fed with robots. The same thing with welding. So we talk about manufacturing and we look around us and anything that is metal is welded at some point in time. So in this facility, we'll do everything with welding, from learning how to weld by hand to, again, using computer controlled and robotic welding equipment. And then we will also have a 3D printing lab. So a lot of you may be familiar and may have different 3D printers in your high schools right now or your elementary schools. And those 3D printers are a great way to really learn about the different ways that 3D printing kind of the new ways is coming in and affecting our lives. And what we do here is we take that 3D printing to another level so that you can really learn how men and women in business and industry are using 3D printers to affect the product and how they're using it to affect their business. And the different types of 3D printers. There's a lot more than just the smaller 3D printers that you come across in your schools. In fact, now there are 3D printing houses and 3D printing shells for airplanes. Plattsburgh just got a brand new facility, North Titanium, and they're 3D printing titanium components that go in the different Boeing airplanes. So all of this all centers back to STEM and these different pathways that you were working on. And all these different categories that I just talked about all have different pathways. to take you out to a number of different career fields.
And I think just to add to what Mr. Renadette is talking about, community colleges are really the perfect place to start your career or an academic career. So for example, what he was talking about is moving to or going to a community college, and you can have direct career job placement from your community college education. Or you can take that community college education and then move on to a four-year institution. I originally had a two-year degree in math and science. And then I took that two-year degree and I moved to a four-year institution. And here I am today. So my STEM degree actually was a stepping stone for me in my education to get to what my goals were. So the community college pathway for STEM can be direct career placement for a job, or it could certainly move you on to a four-year institution. So community college offers that environment where you can be successful.
And just to add to that, to give another example of a STEM pathway, my pathway coming out of high school is also a direct STEM pathway. I had a strong focus in high school in science and math, and I really knew that I liked working with my hands. I liked playing with Legos when I was growing up. I liked taking things apart, putting them back together. So I ended up pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering. I went to college that some of you might know, fairly local. I went to Clarkson. I studied mechanical engineering there. And mechanical engineering, just like the different degree paths that I was just talking about that we have here at Clinton and for the Advanced Manufacturing Institute, that's really just a starting point. And you branch from there into a number of different options. So during your time, during whatever type of training you go to or whatever type of degree you come for, whether it's a two-year degree, whether you and you take from there and go on to a four-year degree, you find your path along the way of what starts to make sense. You're going to take a number of different classes in a number of different subject areas that are going to put together the building blocks and the foundation for what you will move to next. So while I was pursuing my degree, I also did some different internships and hands-on work experience to try and figure out which area I wanted. So mechanical engineering is very broad. But what I knew is I knew that I liked working with my hands. And what I also knew is I also knew that I enjoyed teaching. So I ended up going a route where I worked in weapons system manufacturing for the Army. And the position that I took was in design. And I also got to help make some of the components, put some of the components together. But where the teaching side came from and the learning, I got to work with all the different soldier units throughout the Army on the type of systems that they have and what was going wrong with them. And then also how they take that, and then I was able to train them on the new stuff. And that path then took me from there and led me back here to Clinton Community College, where I became an instructor in mechanical technology and now the director for Advanced Manufacturing Institute. So career pathways can take you a number of different routes, and they continue to shape as you go through. So if you're sitting there struggling or trying to figure out what you might want to do, that's okay. That's normal. Find something you're interested in and go towards it. So if, like I said, STEM really helps to prepare you for a number of different opportunities. That is really the foundation for a lot of the skill gaps that are out there. So if you're interested in one of these different type of technology programs, pursue it, and as you go through it, we'll help you find your way.
Kris, thank you. That actually was a question from one of our students. They wanted to know what pathway you took. So did the Clarkson pathway get you right to where you are now? And Clarkson is one of our CFES schools also, so we partner with them as well. And then in addition, I had a question. Were you enlisted in the Army while you did that portion of your job, or were you working with them as a civilian? And
okay. I will hit on both of those. I'm gonna answer your question first because that's a little bit quicker. I was a civilian, signed on as a civilian in my position as an engineer, not fully enlisted. But I did work right on a military post, actually not very far from here, just outside of Albany in the Waterville Arsenal. Really neat manufacturing facility. I know that a lot of the schools in the CFES network are not really that far from there. It's one of the most state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities in the world, actually. So if anybody ever gets the opportunity to go down and take a tour, I highly recommend it. It's really neat. So as far as my career pathway and what got me there, a lot of it starts with, it really all starts with you as an individual. So for me, yes, I chose to go to Clarkson. That was an opportunity. I looked at a number of different pathways. Ultimately, you need to kind of figure out the direction you want to go. I knew that in working with my counselors that engineering and technology was an avenue I wanted to go. Once I got to Clarkson, I was able to help create opportunities by going through the different coursework and finding out what different avenues interested me. So from there, everything really builds. And when you look at a pathway, it's more than just one thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. There's a lot of things that come into play. And to say how I got to where I am right now, I wouldn't say it's just Clarkson. I would like to say part of that was coming from high school and the teachers that I was connected with in high school. And I was also in an Upward Bound program in a science and math curriculum in Upward Bound. And coming out of that, going into Clarkson and being a part of different clubs and organizations there. But while I was there, I also worked for I had an internship at 3 different companies. I worked at a natural gas power plant. I worked at a paper mill, and then I worked for General Electric. And all 3 of those opportunities are 3 very different types of jobs in engineering, 3 very different pathways. And each of those companies alone has a number of pathways. So that helped to reshape the direction I wanted to go. And that's how I ended up with the opportunity with the Army. And while I was there, building on that, the position I'm in now is a bit more of a leadership role. While I was there, I also joined the fire department and got involved in a lot of community service projects, got involved in a lot of training with them, got involved in a lot of different leadership roles within the fire department, where again, I could apply all of my STEM knowledge in a different way, and my engineering background in a different way. And coupling that in help to lead to the path of coming to Clinton to be able to teach by learning about my teaching abilities that I had with the fire department and teaching different things around the state and teaching things in different manufacturing companies. Coming back here, working with the business and industry and building on that has kind of got me to where I am. So I guess I can't really say it's any one thing that brought me down a path, but as you're going down the path, you will come across a lot of different avenues and a lot of different doors. And the best thing that I can say is try not to let those doors close, go through the door and find out what's on the other side.
Thank you, Kris. Michele, this question is for you, same school, different student. You mentioned you had a 2-year degree in math and science. What were you able to do with that degree?
Well, thank you for the question. I actually went to CVPH School of Radiology Technology. And so my 2-year degree was a focus through Empire State College. They awarded my associate's degree to me, and it was a focus in math and science. But I was also enrolled in the school at the hospital. And so I ended up becoming a certified X-ray technologist, and my primary field of job duty was an MRI and CAT scan. And I worked at the hospital for about 8 years before I decided that I was going to go on to get my bachelor's degree. I loved science. I loved biology and chemistry. And so I went back to SUNY Plattsburgh and received both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I did research in cellular biochemistry. And on the side, I was also teaching at Clinton Community College, so in the evenings. And they fortunately had a position, and then I moved to into a teaching position here at Clinton Community College, and I was a professor of biology and chemistry. and I taught for 13 years before moving into my current position here. And then I moved on to actually get my PhD through the University of Albany with my specialty in science education and curriculum and instruction. So very convoluted pathway. But again, as Mr. Renadette said, it's about kind of knowing what your interests are and really capitalizing on any opportunities you see when they are in front of you. And sometimes it's hard to actually step through that door, and that opening, but I would say, you know, pull your shoulders back, put your chin up, and, you know, go after what you know is going to make you happy. And that's sort of what I did. It took me a long time to get there, but it was all grounded in my passion for STEM and my passion for science. So I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad I'm working with this guy.
Thank you for that, Michele and Kris. Did you have anything else you wanted to offer? And I also wanted to point out University of Albany is also one of our schools. So we're all interrelated and working together to make these great things happen for our students.
That's awesome. And I was just thinking as Dr. Snyder was talking that I was thinking back about pathways, and I had just went and made a statement about, you know, coming across doors and opportunities, and lots of opportunities come up as you're going through different stages in your life. And it made me think back to when I was at Clarkson, and the whole time that I was going through my 4-year degree, I almost let one of those doors close, and that door that I'm talking about was to get a master's degree. I spent my entire 4 years at Clarkson really enjoying the degree that I was on, enjoying the learning and everything I was doing. But as I got into my senior year, I just told myself and told everyone that I was done with school, never moving on, even though I knew deep down inside, no matter what, in any STEM field for that matter, let alone engineering, everything you do requires professional development. So I was always going to be learning, which I enjoyed doing. So I don't know why I kept telling myself I wasn't going to pursue an advanced degree. I took the job with the Army, and I was there less than a week. And my boss said, you know, we pay for our employees to continue on and get an advanced degree. So I signed up the next week and started.
They left us again. I think their technology has failed them again. We'll see if they join us in the next couple of moments. Yep, there he is. This technology, man.
Sorry about that. I guess it doesn't like hearing my voice, so it's probably cutting me off at an appropriate time. But back to it, as I came out of when we were talking about different pathways, I guess one of the important things that I left out in terms of getting to the director role that I'm in now is the master's degree and the path that I chose then. And going through Clarkson and doing different stuff, I did also realize that I enjoyed being involved in project management. I enjoyed leadership roles. So I focused my master's degree on engineering and management. So after 2 years of working towards that, while I was working with the Army, I achieved that and was able to start moving into different project management roles.
Where did you receive your master's, Kris?
Oh, I got my master's from, it was actually one of the many schools out of Union University down in Schenectady, which was at the time called Union Graduate College, which has been since been adopted by Clarkson. It is now Clarkson University Capital Region campus.
Great. Thank you both for sharing, Michele and Kris, and for volunteering to do a live chat. Thank you to everyone that tuned in today. A recording of this live chat will be available on our website. And remember to join us for our next live chat on May 12th at 1 p.m. with CEO of Jockwell, Porter Braswell, on preparing students for 21st century jobs.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Michelle and Kris. Have a great day.